The New York Liberty have acquired Natasha Cloud from the Connecticut Sun in exchange for a couple of draft picks. So the news hit the headlines last night as I was watching the Unrivaled playoffs, and to be totally honest, I am not very surprised that this happened because the Liberty have been kind of scouting Natasha Cloud for a couple of years, and they showed interest in acquiring her even this season. They did bring over Izzy Harrison to the team, who, if you aren't aware, is dating Natasha Cloud. But in the first two deals that the New York Liberty did offer the Connecticut Sun for TASH CLOUD, they turned them down. So it didn't seem like this was a nail in the coffin kind of trade. But again, it is one that is not very shocking at all. I've been saying this since the end of last season that the teams to beat, if you are an Indiana Fever fan, are the New York Liberty and the Minnesota Lynx. And with this addition, the New York Liberty now have filled their point guard hole on the roster as they lost Sloot over to the Chicago Sky. And their bench depth is pretty crazy. The projected starting five will be Natasha Cloud at the point, Sab, shooting guard, JJ, Benijah Lainey-Hamilton, Brianna Stewart. And if you think about that, their bench, Leonie Fibich, Niara Sabally, Izzy Harrison, and possibly Marine Johannes coming over from Europe. I mean, their bench is a starting five itself. And this team, they have length and they have muscle. There's Stewie, huge, JJ, enormous, Leonie Fibich, Izzy Harrison, and Niara Sabally. I don't really see how this team doesn't get to the final, if not the end of the playoffs. And championship windows are small, so I think that the New York Liberty, as well as the Indiana Fever, have this win now mentality. I guess you could also say the Lynx have that too. But these are all win now, in their small championship window, go for the back-to-backs. And Cloud does add some really good facilitation. She is actually a really good point guard in the WNBA. I am only talking about basketball here. I'm not talking about a lot of the off-court stuff because I like to keep it about basketball. Yes, I have feelings about all that stuff, but for the point of this video and the point of just talking about the game, I'm going to keep it about the game. Now, Benijah Lainey-Hamilton did enter Unrivaled and pretty quickly went out with an injury. And it's my personal opinion that if anybody does even have the slightest bit of pain or idea of an injury in Unrivaled, they take them out just as a safety for the W season. And there isn't a lot of information on a lot of these injuries, so we don't really know the severity of them. But so far, it doesn't seem like any of the injuries in Unrivaled have been season-ending injuries for any of the players. But Benijah Lainey-Hamilton is questionable as she did go out and she is injury prone. She was out for a lot of last season with an injury, actually. If she is not able to play next season, the fact that Natasha Cloud can go two-way and add some defense is a plus. So what do the Connecticut Sun get in return for this big trade of Natasha Cloud to the Liberty? Well, they get the number 7 2025 first-round draft pick, and they also get a first-round pick for 2026, which gives the Connecticut Sun 3 first-round draft picks in this upcoming 2025 draft. The number 7 pick, the number 8 pick, and the number 25 pick. What does this tell us? That the Connecticut Sun is in rebuild mode. And I don't know if anybody has eyes on Marina Mabrey because I feel like she might be having a bit of a crash out, as Marina Mabrey has been very vocal about not wanting to be on this Connecticut Sun team anymore, of which the Connecticut Sun have denied her trade. And the owner of the Connecticut Sun was on a podcast explaining as to how big of an impact that Marina Mabrey is going to have on the team and how they want to build the team around Marina Mabrey. And I personally think they might just be tanking their seasons for the 2027 Juju sweepstakes because there isn't much in the movement of the Connecticut Sun that tells me that they are in any sort of a win now mode. And they will not have a facility done by 2026 as practice facilities are now such a big topic, such a big draw for free agents. And in 2026, every single player in the WNBA that is not on a rookie contract and that is not Lexi Brown or Kalani Brown will be free agents. Although now that Lexi Brown has been traded to Seattle, I do have to check her free agency status. Yeah, I have to check that. So the idea that the Connecticut Sun is like creating this like young core of players, I think is probably the smartest move for what they have and what they have to work with. Because also, it really doesn't make sense to keep a player who doesn't want to be there when they know that they're going to lose her anyway in the 2026 free agency bonanza. Now, with this trade, the Connecticut Sun have $680,000 in cap space. This is not considering all the new rookies that they will bring in, but rookies are not going to be taking up a lot of their cap space. So they actually potentially have a lot of monetary freedom to move around. And this might be something that they take advantage of in, say, halfway through the season to see like where they are and what they want to be doing. Again, I think that they might be tanking for the 2027 Juju Watkins, Hannah Hidalgo draft. And there are a lot of people that have been, especially Indiana Fever fans, that have been kind of comparing this new New York Liberty roster to the Fever roster and their starting fives, and they've been doing like a better than, worse than comparison. Like CC is better than Natasha Cloud, like per position. A lot of them are interesting. Like this person online says that Caitlin Clark is better than Natasha Cloud. Kelsey Mitchell is better than Sabrina Ionescu. Duana Bonner is better than Leonie Fevich. Natasha Howard is worse than Brianna Stewart. Aaliyah Boston is equal to Jonquel Jones. And again, I've seen a few of these, and some of them are kind of crazy. Like a lot of people are saying that Natasha Howard is better than Brianna Stewart, which this is the one that I agree with the most, but I will, with all due respect to Aaliyah Boston, I will have to say that I don't think there's a world right now where Aaliyah Boston is equal to Jonquel Jones. I mean, Jonquel Jones has an awesome perimeter game. She is a large, enormous person who can push through the paint, who can block, and who has a very good 3-point game, which is something that Aaliyah Boston still kind of needs to work on. As well as she needs to be able to get better with her hops. She doesn't have much of a hop, but as far as the pick and roll game goes, and I think Aaliyah Boston has amazing court IQ, there's an argument for that. But right now in her career, I just don't think that she is equal to a Jonquel Jones yet. Some of the crazier takes I've seen, like this one, Caitlin Clark is equal to Natasha Cloud, like not in any world whatsoever. Kelsey Mitchell is equal to Sabrina Ionescu. I think Kelsey Mitchell, weirdly, I do think Kelsey Mitchell's a little better than Sabrina. Again, that is very debatable. Duana Bonner is better than Leonie Fevich. I think at this point in time, Duana Bonner's veteran experience is better than Leonie Fevich, even though I think Leonie Fevich is going to come up and be an amazing player. Natasha Howard is less than Brianna Stewart. I agree with that. And Aaliyah Boston is less than Jonquel Jones. And just because Aaliyah Boston has not been in the league for as long and doesn't have as much experience, I do agree with this too. But they say that New York wins every time, which this person responded to, yeah, except for 2023, 2022, 2021, and on and on and on, because the Liberty have actually never won a championship until last season, which in and of itself was a little questionable. But I think this person who was saying that Caitlin Clark is less than Natasha Cloud is just part of the hater group of people, which there are so many nowadays. But anyway, Las Vegas has the Fever at number 4, at odds to win the championship. I think that, if anything, the lowest they should be is number 3. And the reason is because I really do think this, especially now, this new Liberty team and the Lynx, they are going in, well, the Lynx are going in with a chip on their shoulder, with a lot of resentment from losing in the finals, with that questionable foul call Brianna Stewart did, traveling into it. And I just really think that the New York Liberty are a stacked team. There's a lot going around now about, are we going to talk about them as a super team? And the fact is they've been being talked about as a super team before the Indiana Fever came into the situation with Caitlin Clark. But I really do feel that any of these 3 teams can take a championship next season.